Dorian has passed over the Bahamas. There's an official death count in the Bahamas of 30 dead so far as a result. But according to officials from the Bahamas, over 2,000 people are missing. And that was as of this morning. The missing count, I am sure, has gone up since. Now, missing could be that a relative tries to call their family member and can't reach them. But a lot of them may also be in a lot of trouble or maybe even dead. So I think that the death toll, unfortunately, in the Bahamas is going to rise significantly. One person who rode out the storm in the Bahamas, who I saw, was James Bond, Sean Connery.
Right.
He rode out the storm. He's 89 years old.
Right.
James Bond there in the Bahamas. He rode out the storm and he sent out a tweet or a text message or something to somebody saying he's safe.
I gotta be real. The New York Post's coverage of Hurricane Dorian I have found very interesting.
What?
It's been Wendy Williams had to cancel her girls' trip and Sean Connery is okay.
Yes.
Those are the things that the New York Post cares about.
Now, more importantly, as rescuers and survivors of Hurricane Dorian's destruction in the Bahamas are getting increasingly frustrated as boats from nearby Nassau and the U.S. mainland can't reach the islands that have been affected most. You can't fly in and out. It's the Abacus Islands.
Yeah, Abacus and Marsh Harbor.
And Marsh Harbor. Maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. So people, the airport in Marsh Harbor is out. The U.S.-based ships that are coming, the Coast Guard, there's not enough to help people bring in supplies and evacuate people who need to be evacuated. The Bahamian government has sent hundreds of police and Marines into these stricken islands, along with doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers. They are completely, at this point, unfortunately, overwhelmed. Chef Jose Andres, whose World Central Kitchen delivers meals after natural disasters, is also flying to various islands, delivering meals to people who have been cut off from the rest of civilization. Because there's no food, there's no supplies, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Now, Andres has been based out of his restaurant in the Atlantis Resort in Nassau, about 90 miles away, and families there on vacation have also joined Andres. People rode out their vacations through this storm, and they are now helping, vacationers are now helping him to prepare food and get it out to people who are in need. The hurricane right now is over North Carolina as we speak.
Right.
It is now it went down to a Category 3, and now I understand it is a Category 1.
Yes.
So the winds have slowed down substantially. Despite that fact, there's still 215,000 homes and businesses across North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia that do not have electricity and are threatened by mass waves and rising tides.
Storm surge, yeah.
Yeah. Now, state officials said at a press conference that there could be hundreds of people trapped and facing dangerous floods, especially on the barrier islands.
Right.
They're asking people to leave. Right now, as of Bradshaw Live start time, the winds were 95 miles per hour, which is half of the strength of what it was in the Bahamas.
Right.
Because the Bahamas was about 185 miles an hour, and it's still ripping off roofs in North Carolina, South Carolina, so please be safe if you are there. In other news, Belgium Kim.
Yes.
All right, because this is all hard news I got so far.
We got some hard news.
I've got the top 75 news articles of the day in my hand right now.
All day, every day, Brad.
All day, every day. And I pick and choose what is interesting to me.
Right.
This is interesting to me. The FDA and the CDC have both issued warnings after 4 people have died of vaping-related issues. Now, vaping is the electronic cigarette. It's supposed to be safer because you're not inhaling smoke.
Right.
You're just, if you're smoking, nicotine or whatever, you get addicted to nicotine, but it's not causing cancer per se, or at least that's what they say.
Right.
And the same with marijuana. You're not inhaling the marijuana smoke if that's what you're smoking.
Right.
But apparently, in some of the nicotine and cannabis mixtures that are going in to these vape pens, because a lot of it is just completely illegal, unregulated, counterfeit. There's apparently something called vitamin E acetate.
Yeah.
And vitamin E acetate is a regular vitamin that you would take if you went to GNC and bought some, I need some vitamin E acetate, just like I need some vitamin B and vitamin C and D. And you take it in a pill and it's perfectly healthy for you.
Right.
But apparently, if you inhale it, it's deadly. And we don't know, nobody knows how this vitamin E acetate has made it into some of the mixtures that a lot of these kids are smoking. There's been hundreds and hundreds of people who who have been hospitalized as a result
Yep.
of overexposure to vitamin E acetate, and 4 people have already died just from inhaling from a vape pen.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, the New York State Department of Health said the lab test showed extremely high levels of vitamin E acetate, and it was not found in some of the other products that were tested that have been regulated. So these are all unregulated products that have this.
Right.
I don't know where it's coming
Yeah.
from. So the Food and Drug Administration is now testing more than 100 samples from states and has not ruled out other contaminants that also may be causing death and illness.
Right.
A study conducted in 2016 and published last year in the Annals of Internal Health. I just love saying the Annals.
I know you do.
I know. I don't know why it makes me laugh. A study conducted in 2016. It's funny what things make you laugh, right?
Yeah, particularly you make you laugh because it's annals.
It makes
or
me,
annals.
No, but it's the Annals. It's the Annals. How do you pronounce it?
I think it's annals or annals. Annals.
A study conducted in 2016 and published last year in the Annals, which doesn't make me laugh.
I'll make sure to avoid writing that word from now on.
I would not put that
card.
word again in my notes.
No problem. No problem.
In the Annals of Internal Health found that nearly 11 million people are using e-cigarettes. And they think it's safe, but apparently it's now deadly.
Listen, I was actually part of a campaign. I helped raise the tobacco tax on e-cigs in California a few years ago.
I remember that as part of your interview.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And even then, the dangers of vaping, particularly with children who are increasingly getting their hands on these and they're marketed to kids. You have vapes that look like Minions and toys. It's absolutely terrifying. And so now, for on top of that to say, and it's going to give you a disease that's going to cause pneumonia or some intense illnesses, is terrifying.
Yeah. Now, according to the FDA in 2018, 3.6 million kids under the age of 17
Wow.
were using e-cigarettes.
That's
a lot of kids.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
You must be terrified as a parent with kids that
listen,
age.
I mean, I lecture my kids all the time. They claim they don't do it, but I'm not a detective.
Yeah.
I'm not with them 24 hours.
100%.
Yeah, so, you know.
That's tough.
You know, it's funny, in this day and age, talking about being a parent, it's almost like you're a successful parent if your kids made it out alive and they're 22 and an adult now.
That's a little bit how it feels. It's like, wow, you've made it.
Yeah, like, you know, like you're a successful parent because you got your kid alive to 22 and be an adult.
Yeah.
That's how I feel now.
They haven't succumbed to e-cigs or mass shootings or something.
Or environmental disasters.
Right, just something awful.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Brad.
Meanwhile, we talked about yesterday that Trump tweeted that sensitive photograph of the Iranian missile launching.
Right.
And we said that's probably a violation of some laws.
Right.
Because it was basically a classified document that he just tweeted out like an imbecile.
Yeah.
Now, people on Twitter have figured out, sleuths have figured out where this photo came from.
No way.
Yeah. So, and it didn't take long. It turned out that this photo was taken by the National Reconnaissance Office satellite launched in 2011. I don't know how normal people are able to figure this out. It's called USA 224 is the satellite. It's believed to be a member of the KH-11 family.
Yeah.
Whatever that may mean.
Whatever that may mean.
Of electro-optical surveillance satellites, and almost everything about the KH-11 satellite program is classified.
Of course it is.
Until now, because Donald Trump has released this classified information.
Thank God for Twitter.
Yes. Now, images from the satellites have always been classified.
Right.
You never give them out because it may give your enemy some information on how you're collecting this data, and they may now defend against it.
Right. As this exactly did.
Correct. Now, the only confirmed photo from a KH-11 satellite ever was leaked in 1984 by a Navy intelligence analyst, and has never been leaked since until the President of the United States decided to break the law.
Right.
Now, tracing the photo to a classified satellite was a masterclass in internet sleuthing.
Right.
People just sat at their computer and figured this out. It's crazy. Christian Tribert, a journalist for the New York Times visual investigation team, used the shadows in the photo to determine a 1-hour window in which the photo was taken. And then Michael Thompson, a graduate student in aerodynamics at Purdue University, pointed out that USA 224 was directly over the Iranian launch facility during that exact time frame.
That's crazy.
Marco Langbroek, an archaeologist who runs an amateur spy satellite tracking station in the Netherlands, calculated the angle at which the satellite viewed the Iranian launch pad. Now, between those three people, they figured out three, I don't know if they're fat guys or not, but I mean, maybe they're good-looking, handsome men. I have no idea. Three random dudes around the world figured it all out.
And I can't divide fractions, y'all.
Yes. It's crazy.
That's insane.
That is crazy.
Wow.
In other news, and this is pretty sad, Donald Trump's own administration, the Department of Health and Human Services, had a independent analysis of the children who are being held in detention while their parents are awaiting asylum interviews. And it is the first substantial accounting by a government agency on how family separation under the Trump policy has affected the mental health of children. Now, investigators have visited 45 facilities in 10 states during August and September of 2018. That was a year ago. They interviewed about 100 mental health clinicians, and during the interviews, there were almost 9,000 children in shelters. Nearly 85% were between the ages of 13 and 17.
Oh my God.
13% were between 6 and 12, and 2% were infants. Now, a clinician told investigators, "You get a lot of, quote, my chest hurts, even though everything seems to be medically fine." The children would describe emotional systems like every heartbeat hurts, I can't feel my heart. One little boy, about 7, who was separated from his father at the U.S.-Mexico border last year, was under the delusion that his dad was dead.
Oh my God.
And that he thought he was going to be killed next. The child ultimately required emergency psychiatric care to address his mental health distress. Other children believed their parents had abandoned them.
Oh my God.
And some suffered physical symptoms because of their mental drama. Some cried inconsolably. Some were angry and confused. Other children expressed feelings of fear or guilt and became concerned for their parents' welfare. Now, the child psychiatrist, Dr. Gilbert Kleiman, who interviewed dozens of migrant children in shelters after zero tolerance took effect, told PBS's Frontline and the Associated Press that the kids can move on with their lives after reunifying with their parents, but they may never get over this trauma. As children, they have night terrors, separation anxiety, trouble concentrating, and then when they're going to become adults, they're going to face greater risks of mental and physical challenges, from depression all the way to cancer. Now, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, who did this investigation, this is Donald Trump's own administration coming out with these statistics, said the longer children were in custody, the more their mental health deteriorated, and it recommended minimizing time children should be in jail. Of course. Especially since they did nothing wrong and they are not criminals. It also suggested creating better mental health care options and hiring more trained staff. The department's assistant secretary, Lynn Johnson, said in a letter to the watchdog that the average length of stay was much shorter now, and noted that the report was not a clinical review of treatment. So now, even though the President Trump's own Health and Human Services watchdog is saying there's major issues, they're still denying that their own administration is saying what's happening.
It's insane to me because I feel like you don't need to be a doctor to look at these images and see that these children are going to be impacted forever. They're sleeping under a bridge, under tinfoil blankets, on the ground. They don't know where their parents are. Of course it's going to impact them forever.
Now, finally, Democratic presidential hopeful Beto O'Rourke, who has no chance of winning whatsoever.
No, he doesn't.
He did tweet this. He said, "This confirms what we already knew. The children separated from their families, locked in cages, forced to sleep on concrete floors under tinfoil blankets will live with this trauma for the rest of their lives. We'll have this on our conscience for the rest of our life." And that's true.
Yep.
Finally, it pays to be a yes man for Donald Trump.
It does?
It pays, okay? I was just even talking to a friend today, and he said, he'd be a really good, presidential spokesman, like a Sarah Huckabee, or what was the guy?
Sean Spicer.
Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
He says he would be very good. Nope, Donald Trump did not mean that. Nope, Donald Trump did not mean that. And he says, I would be able to say it with a straight face. He says, I would never do the job.
Right.
He says, but he has the personality.
He would be able to do so.
He would be able to lie his teeth off and be able to do it.
Biggest crowd ever.
Right. The biggest crowd ever.
All the time.
Correct.
Never tweeted that.
Now, all these lying SOBs.
Yeah.
From Sean Spicer, who's now Dancing with the Stars.
Right.
To Sarah Huckabee, who's writing a book and getting millions of dollars for it.
Right.
And now got the A-OK by Donald Trump to run on the Republican ticket for governor of, is it going to be Arkansas? Governor of Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay? She put in her dues. She was ridiculed by everybody, but she sat by Donald Trump and lied her ass off for him, and now she's being rewarded. It's a sick, disgusting world, Belgium Kim.
I think they're going to get their comeuppance, Brad. I don't think she's going to win the governorship of Arkansas, and I think Sean Spicer's going to twist an ankle.
I think she will, because whoever's the Republican is going to win. It's a Republican state. Democrat will never win in Arkansas. So if she's running, I guarantee you Trump will make sure that nobody else runs against her.
Yeah, but that's 2022. I feel like there's a lot that can happen in 2020 before she gets there.
But I will agree with you that karma is a bitch, and it does come around.
I can't wait to see Sean Spicer Dancing with the Stars make an ass of himself.
I don't think he's going to sprain an ankle. But I could see
I don't wish harm on anyone.
I don't wish harm on anybody.
Maybe a toe.
I don't want him to hurt himself, but I'd be very concerned for his hip.
Okay. See, you went hip.
Yes.
You went full. I went toe,
full on
Brad.
hip.
You went full hip. You went Nita Walker. I wouldn't mind it.
This is nice. Denmark has the country of Denmark.
The country of Denmark.
The country of Denmark has bought the last remaining circus elephants to let them retire.
I love this very much.
Yeah, they're spending $1.6 million to buy the country's last 4 circus elephants, give them a proper retirement as the government moves to ban wild animals in circuses. The ministry said Saturday that there were no immediate plans on where they were going to put the 4 elephants named Ramboline, Lara, Junga, and Jenny, but applicants willing to take the mammals should offer a timely takeover and proper welfare.
I volunteer.
Okay. I think that would be cruel to put them in your apartment in Harlem.
It's gonna be a tight squeeze, Brad. It'll be a tight squeeze.
I think it'll be a little smelly in there too. Right?
It's not gonna be great. I gotta run it by someone, but might be a tight squeeze. But for now, Ramboline and the other 3, come on down.
And you saw Nicki Minaj; she's retiring.
Yes.
That'll be retirement for about 6-9 months, you would think.
Right, retirement until the next album drops.
Right. So she's retiring so she can give birth and take care of her kid. So basically, she's taking a year off.
She's not even pregnant.
But she will be eventually.
Right, I'm sure she will be.
She's going to take a year off, a year and a half off. She feels she made enough money.
Yeah.
And then when she gets bored of raising kids, which will be in about a year and a half or so,
right.
she's going to come out of retirement and have a big thing to sell more records.
Of course she is. I'm going to go one further, Brad.
Yes.
I'm going to go in the next 6 months. There will be a secret Nicki album that drops.
You think so?
That's what I think is going to happen.
Perhaps.
You guys just wanted me too much. It hurt my heart too much to be away from my fans because this is for you.
All right. And this is the dumbest story I've heard of the day.
Okay.
A man, his name is Chris Mendiola from Texas.
Yes.
He adopted a dog.
Yeah.
Named Bear in 2010.
Yeah.
And when he went to groom the dog.
Yeah.
He noticed that the dog had a little tattoo on his underbelly.
And
he says, what kind of gross, disgusting people would tattoo a dog?
How dare you?
How dare he?
Yeah.
And he wrote on Facebook, for those of you who know Bear, you know that he has that tattoo given to him from some previous owners. It sickens me to know that people would tattoo their pets. So tonight, I got his tattoo so he and Bear would have the same exact tattoo.
They're the same.
Now, unfortunately for Chris Mendiola, he had no idea what that tattoo was on Bear.
Okay. What is it?
But his friends knew very quickly. After he posted the picture of his tattoo in conjunction with Bear's tattoo.
Right.
In a
Facebook post.
Yeah, but why was he doing it? What's the word I'm looking for? To be like that's symbiotic with Bear.
Yeah.
To be
simpatico.
Simpatico with Bear.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
I figured.
I appreciate it.
You're good.
So his friends quickly noticed that is a very typical tattoo, actually.
Right.
And it says, and one person wrote, guess what? It says you're neutered.
Right.
Okay. And it's done when you neuter an animal to let people know that this animal is neutered. So basically, Chris Mendiola has put on his body that he is neutered as well.
That's right.
Right. So Chris says, now an unbelievable plot twist.
Unbelievable.
Chris says his smarter than that. He really knew what that tattoo meant all along. And he says his tattoo is a sign of his love for Bear because he also wanted to put on his body that he was neutered as well. So do you believe that or no?
I feel like it's smart to say he knew.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way he knew. I don't think that you would put a I'm neutered tattoo so visibly on your body because it's on his arm.
Yes, he had no idea.
That's reckless and impulsive, dude.
I agree. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.